Hello, writers. My name is Tennyson E. Stead. I am a working screenwriter and a working script doctor, and welcome to The Right Stuff. This is the final episode in our 5-episode course on how to write your comedy or animation pilot and show Bible. And today is when we sit down and we work on the show Bible. There's a lot of stuff to cover here. We're going to get right into it. The first question is, what is a show Bible? Basically, the show Bible is a reference document that reads people into the conversation of the show that we're having. People love to write all kinds of world building into the show Bible, all kinds of context, research, background, essays on absolutely everything you can imagine. And that is not what a show Bible is. This thing needs to be concise. I recommend having it as close to 5 pages or less as possible. Okay? More than 6 pages is a problem. Our purpose in writing this show Bible is not to make the reader an expert by any means. And I'm not saying all that expert information doesn't come in handy. Save it in a folder. You're going to need it in the writer's room or on set or somewhere. Okay? If it's animation, you're going to need it in the animation bullpen. You're going to need that information handy, but not here. This is the document that you hand to a manager when they walk into a meeting representing their client, needing to know what's up with the show, what roles are available, what's the show about. It's simple, okay? It is a brief so that people who don't know the show can talk about it after glancing over this document for no more than 3 minutes. So what's in a show Bible? First of all, you're going to put the pitch of the show. We talked about keeping this down to 5 pages if possible. So the pitch is not a page-long dissertation on what makes this show funny. The pitch is 2 paragraphs, no more than 3 sentences each. What is the problem that the show solves? How does the show solve the problem? Present a problem, present a solution. That's the pitch. Okay? People need to laugh about this. We're going to give it to them. The log line of the show is a description of the action of the protagonist. It's the subject and verb and object of the show. A hedgehog runs for president. A nerd forces the bullies to like them. That's it. It's what the protagonist is doing. Obviously, you want to be artful in how you write it. Okay? Because this is a document that people are going to look at as part of the marketing for the show. It's just not the marketing document. By the way, don't put visuals in this thing. Even if it's animation. The show Bible is not the pitch deck. The pitch deck is the pretty document. The show Bible is in Courier with plenty of white space. Okay? The pitch deck is where you put all your concept art and everything else. The tagline is what most people think they're writing when they write a log line. The tagline is, what if a gopher ran for president? It's the get your first laugh, whether it's animation or whether it's a comedy. Say something punchy about the themes of the show with the tagline. The tagline is your opportunity to show the marketing people who are getting into this conversation that this is a show that works basically like any other show they might have worked on. Even if your heart tells you that this is like no other show that's ever been made, you need those marketing people to feel empowered. They need to feel like they know what they're doing. So give them something that advertises the show in a familiar way. Comparables accomplishes the very same goal. Pick 2 shows that, when put together, roughly approximate the themes and or tones of this show. This show does not exist in a cultural vacuum. You've been influenced by other media. This is not the part where you lean into the idea that nothing like this has ever been made before. Find 2 things like it that have been made before and tell the marketing people so that they can see, again, that this show does not exist in a cultural vacuum. Okay? Synopsis. This is a synopsis of the series as a whole. And this is where we first take a look back at the sketch that you've made of your episode breakdown. What is the season about? Now, we've talked about how the rise and fall of action naturally leads to cataclysm, how pursuing a goal that's inherently unsustainable, as every protagonist must, because actions are only entertaining to watch when they're overwhelmingly challenging and when there's a high risk of failure. Every action that a character does should be, on some level, totally unsustainable, because otherwise they're not going to learn anything. They're not going to grow and change as a character. It's not fun to watch. The action of the season is unsustainable. Whatever they're trying to accomplish this season isn't going to happen for them. So you want to break that down into a rise and fall of action. Okay? The 3-act structure that we use in cinema is really just a byproduct of this same rise and fall of action that we've been talking about. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 12 episodes and you're going to break them down into acts. The first 3 episodes are about the preparations that your protagonist is undertaking before they really start engaging the risk of whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. Okay? Up to a certain point, your protagonist is trying to set themselves up to succeed. They're still investing effort in their action. But let's say their plan involves breaking the law. They're probably not going to just start breaking the law. They're going to go and get the tools that they need and pull together all the resources that are going to help them get away with it, even if they're not going to get away with it, right? They're going to do their best. And their best means preparing to the best of their ability. That's what the first 3 episodes are about. So you're going to write 1 paragraph, 3 sentences about their efforts to prepare. Basically, you get 1 sentence per episode is how this works. So your first paragraph is going to be the first act of the arc of the season. It's the efforts of the character to prepare themselves for facing the real risks of whatever it is they're trying to achieve. The second 3 episodes is the second paragraph, and that's where they push their efforts to succeed to the point where the unsustainability of whatever it is they're trying to do really starts to become apparent. It's where they really should notice that this isn't going to work. Not that they will. Maybe they will and they'll keep trying anyway. Maybe they'll try and be smart about it, or maybe they just have no idea. But by the time you hit episode 6 of your 12-episode arc, the audience can see that this is clearly not going to work. And what was exciting and fun in the first 6 episodes is to start feeling a little bit nerve-wracking and possibly cringy as we move, or more so depending on the tone of the show. But do you see what I'm saying? So episode 4 is where they start engaging that risk. Episode 6 is where the stack of books that they've built really does start to topple. Okay? Episodes 7, 8, and 9 are about their efforts to stay under that stack of books and keep the goal moving forward, even though it's clearly all crashing down. Things are getting a lot more helter-skelter. They're pushing a lot harder. What are they doing to move their goal forward? And then it all comes crashing down. Episode 10 is where they wipe themselves out completely and really destroy all possibility of success. And then just like before, they have to dig really deep. They have to find a deeper, more committed, more resourceful place to come from and push forward through those last 3 episodes to make sure, by any means necessary, according to their best ability, to make their goal happen. So you're going to write the first paragraph, 3 sentences of your synopsis about those first 3 episodes. You're going to write your second paragraph, those second 3 sentences about episodes 4, 5, and 6. The third paragraph through the end of the collapse is episodes 7, 8, and 9, all 3 sentences. And then episodes 10, 11, and 12, 3 sentences for a 4-paragraph synopsis of your series. That's what the synopsis is. So now we're going to introduce the reader to your main characters. I recommend including no more than 10 characters in this list. You're going to, each of these things has a heading. So on the document, you're going to write main characters in all bold. You can underline it if you want to, underscore it. And then put the names of each of the characters in all caps, followed by, in parentheses, any gender or age or racial markers that are required. I will stress here, as I always do, that if you want diversity in your cast, you have to demand it. If you want this to be a show that includes people of color, if you want it to be a show that includes women or non-binary people or trans people or whatever the case may be, people who are older, whatever the case may be, you need to specify that, because casting directors will always play it safe. And when it comes to the executives in a studio, playing it safe means white and it means male. So this is the place where you have the opportunity to make a difference. Don't waste it. Okay? Put those demographics in parentheses, put a colon, and then one sentence that describes your character's role with the rest of the characters in the story. What are they trying to do in the story? And who do they belong to? Keep it short, keep it sweet. Again, casting directors are going to be looking over this list to see where their client belongs. Keep it straightforward and easy to grasp, and present it in a way that makes the differences between these characters as clear as possible. After your list of main characters, you have a pilot summary. We've already started working on this. By all means, give it a polish, but it is 3 paragraphs, 1 paragraph per act on what your protagonist does over the course of the pilot episode and what the conflicts are. Don't forget that part. After the pilot summary, you have an episode breakdown. You're going to write, again, in all caps and in bold, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, episode 5. Put a colon after that, name the episode, because people take comfort in that. It's always better to name the episode than not name them. I will tell you that. And then 1 paragraph description. No more than 3 sentences per episode on what the protagonist does and how they create their chaos. Right? It's reasonable to think that you would write 1 sentence per act. The protagonist does this, they end up creating this, and then they have to do crazy things to fix it. And just work your way, and if there's other characters involved, get them involved. The character tries to rope so-and-so into X, and here's what they end up doing, and here's the mess they make, and here's how they fix it. You've got the foundation for that already in the work that we did leading into the pilot episode. So revisit that, make changes if you need to. You're probably going to learn stuff over the course of this process about your characters and about screenwriting. So don't be afraid to make changes. Nobody's even seen this yet, right? The final episode, the final draft that people see is going to be their first impression of the show. So you're not committed to anything until other people start committing to the project. Keep it in mind. Once you finish your episode breakdown, you're going to write 1 paragraph on what the story is with season 2. And you're going to write 1 paragraph on what the story is with season 3. And again, you're making each of these sections very clearly, distinctly marked. So you're going to have, future seasons, and then season 2, and here's your paragraph, and season 3, and here's your paragraph. Remember how we found the action for season 1. We accounted for what the protagonist's overarching goal was for the series. They're trying to become this. They're trying to do this. Well, at the end of season 1, they've accomplished this. What's the next really big, really challenging step that they need to undertake in order to achieve their larger goal for the series? What is then the third really large goal that they need to achieve in order to push forward with their goal for the series? Now, some people will write a first season of television without knowing what the overarching goal of the series is. And you can reverse engineer one. Okay? It's better to do earlier than later. By all means, do it now if you haven't already. But the way to do that is to take a look at what your protagonist has achieved over the course of the first season of television and ask yourself, why would they do this? Why are they trying to accomplish this goal? What's the big picture of what they want? And again, I urge you to think big. Reach for the stars. Allow that character to be pursuing something that there is no chance whatsoever that they're going to succeed at, because then everything that they do becomes a desperate effort to bring that goal closer to within reach. And some sitcoms never let the characters achieve it. Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld would say it's a show about nothing. That's not true. It's a show about 3 losers and a crazy man trying to earn social credit in Manhattan, which is a town that gives no one social credit. It likes nobody. It cares not for you. And ultimately, these are people who are trying to be cool, trying to become the cool kids in Manhattan. It's never going to happen. I don't care how much soup you drink. But they always find some new way of trying to make that goal happen. So some sitcoms, some comedies, never let their characters achieve that goal, and that just keeps them in an endless cycle of trying to reach for it, and that's valid. Other ones have a more arcing narrative where they allow the character to get closer and closer to that ultimate mission. And that's good too, because the absurdism of the characters' efforts have to escalate as the conflict escalates. And the conflict is going to escalate because the character is using more and more resources. Other people are going to want those resources too. So, you now have a show Bible. Obviously, writing is rewriting, but you've got a show Bible and you have a pilot episode. You have all the tools that you need to present your show to a producer. The next step is to hone them, make sure that they read exactly the way that you want them to. Do not add extra things to your script for the sake of tone and readability. Just choose better words. Okay? Stay focused on the action at all times. Don't add things to make the script better to read. Just write the actions of your characters in a more compelling way. Okay? Tone comes from the action. Theme comes from the action. Don't take one step off that action, and your show will be punchier and funnier and more interesting for it. This has been your 5-week course on writing your pilot episode and show Bible for your 30-minute television series. Thank you very much for showing up to The Right Stuff. We already have courses on writing a feature film and on writing a 60-minute television series posted. There's a lot more content coming, both coursework like what we've done here and a lot of one-off videos on technique and strategy and all kinds of other stuff that people like to talk about. It's going to be an exciting channel, I think, if you like screenwriting. So please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for showing up to The Right Stuff, and I look forward to learning with you.